Ever felt like you have to really compromise or you'll never find true love? That voice in your head saying, I'm afraid to be too picky, but I don't want to settle either. And the gay dating pool is tiny, isn't it? So when you list what you want in a partner, it can feel like you're asking for the impossible. But here's the thing, the secret isn't about finding more options. It's about wishing for the right things. Let me explain what I mean. I came across this fascinating book called The Science of Happily Ever After by T.Y. Tashiro, and it had a huge aha moment for me on how I think about finding a partner. Turns out, when scientists crunched the numbers, they found that most people wish for too many specific things in a partner, too many must-have traits, so their chances of finding a partner become statistically impossible. And here's how it works. You start with wanting someone who's exactly your type, right? That might eliminate 80% of potential partners right there. Then you add, must be financially successful. There goes another 80% of who's left. Add, must love travel and musicals, and you've just eliminated another huge chunk. And the list goes on. Before you know it, you're looking for this perfect unicorn that statistically doesn't exist in your dating pool at all. So they found out that 3 wishes, exactly 3, is the magic number of all you should wish for. It keeps your dating pool realistic while still keeping you focused on what truly matters. And here's the crucial part. If you only get 3 wishes, you absolutely cannot waste them on things that don't predict how successful the relationship would be. By the way, if you want more insights like this about gay dating and relationships, you'll love my weekly newsletter. I share research-backed strategies that you won't find anywhere else. Check out the link in the video description. Now, let's talk about the first wish that people often waste: physical attractiveness. Now, I know what many would say here, but attraction is important. And you're right, it is. But there's a huge difference between basic attraction and the super specific type or tribe that many of us fixate on. Let me explain why this is a real problem. When we get stuck on a specific type, whether it's only dating guys who work out intensely at the gym, or twinks or otters, or being fixated on a particular age range, we're usually chasing that intense initial attraction. And I see this all the time. Relationships that start with this amazing passion, but they crash and burn once the honeymoon phase is over. Because, let's be real, that initial fire always cools down eventually. That's just how attraction works. And then, what are you left with? You're left with how emotionally compatible you are with this person. That's what would keep a relationship alive long term. And research backs this up. These specific physical criteria we get so hung up on, they have zero connection with how satisfying the relationship is over time. So, instead of physical attractiveness, how about wishing first of all for emotional stability? Let me break down what this looks like in real life. Emotional stability means someone who can handle life's challenges without falling apart. When work gets too stressful, do they lash out or handle it maturely? During disagreements, can they have a calm discussion or do they shut down? It's about consistency. You shouldn't have to wonder which version of them you'll get today. Pay attention to how they handle disappointment, how they treat you when they're stressed, and especially how they respond when you're vulnerable with them. And here's something really powerful about emotional stability and attraction. I've seen it with couples I know, and this is also backed by scientific research. Emotional stability can actually make you more attracted to someone over time. Couples who've been together for years found the deeper their emotional connection grew, the more attractive their partner became to them. Not because either of them still looks like they did on day one, but because that sense of trust and safety created something deeper than physical attraction. Now, let's talk about the second wish people often waste: money and status. There's something really appealing about a successful partner, especially when you've worked hard to build your own success, and you want someone who kind of matches your lifestyle. I get it. But here's where it gets tricky. When we look for someone with similar status and wealth, What we're really hoping for is compatibility in lifestyle, in values, in how we approach life. But I've seen so many couples struggle despite matching perfectly on paper, similar careers, similar income levels, because they clashed on their values. And I've seen couples thrive who may be at a different professional levels, but deeply align on what truly shapes their life together. That's why, instead of wishing for status, you should be wishing for something that can predict the success of the relationship much better. Shared core values. Think about what actually determines your happiness in day-to-day life together. Are you on the same page about talking things through when there's an issue? Where do you both stand on monogamy? Do you want similar things around family stuff? What about how you each picture getting older together? And money. It's not just about how much you have, but do you match up on things like saving versus spending or taking financial risks? These basic alignments tell you so much more about whether you'll be happy together, way more than matching job titles or bank accounts could ever tell you. Let's talk about the third wish that people often waste when looking for a partner: shared hobbies. We see it especially in those dating profiles where people list all their requirements like must appreciate fine dining, love international travel, musicals, as if having the same interests somehow guarantees a great relationship. Now, I'm not saying that having some shared interests is a bad thing. Of course, it's great when you can enjoy activities together, but shared hobbies are not what makes relationships last. What actually keeps couples together in the long run is something way more important: respect and kindness. When I say respect and kindness, I'm talking about someone's character, the way they treat people and handle situations in their daily life. Pay attention to the little things that show you who they really are. How do they act when a waiter gets their order wrong? What kind of things do they say about their previous relationships? Because the way someone talks about their exes tells you a lot about how they handle emotional situations or take responsibility in conflicts, and how they treat someone they once cared deeply about. And notice how they deal with things like getting older or taking care of their health. These might not seem important when you're just starting to date, but they become huge factors as your relationship grows over time. When you look at all these behaviors together, they help paint a picture of who someone really is. Now, you might still be thinking, this sounds good in theory, but what about the reality of the gay dating world? So, let's talk about some concerns that often come up when I suggest being more selective about partners. One of the most common worries I hear is, the gay dating pool is already tiny, especially when I'm not getting any younger. If I start being picky about emotional stability and core values, I'll end up with zero options. I understand this concern, but let me put this in perspective. You're not trying to find 100 decent options. You're looking for one real connection. And here's what's interesting. When you stop spending time on matches that don't align with what truly matters, you create space in your life for more meaningful connections to develop. Another concern I often hear is, if I focus less on physical attraction, won't I be settling? Well, giving less emphasis on external looks and being more selective about character and values isn't settling. It's actually raising your standards. Think about it. Would you rather have someone who looks so hot in your Instagram but makes you feel anxious and insecure? Or you'd rather have someone who brings out the best in you and makes you feel like your best self? When we fixate too much on the physical, we often end up settling for less in the things that actually impact our daily happiness. And if you're thinking, I've made some bad choices in the past, how do I know I won't make the same mistakes again? Well, making mistakes in dating is part of being human. We've all been there. The difference now is that you have a clear understanding of what actually creates a lasting relationship. So, how do you put all this into practice? It starts with thinking about what matters to you, not what's just nice to have. When you meet someone new, pay attention to how they handle stress, how they treat others, how their values align with yours. Stay open to connections that might surprise you. Don't immediately dismiss someone just because they don't fit in your usual type. Give yourself time to see how they make you feel. Here's what it comes down to. Yes, the dating pool might be smaller than we'd like, but your chances of finding real love actually increase when you focus on the things that truly matter. Think of it this way. You've got these 3 wishes. Use them wisely. I'd love to hear from you. What are your 3 non-negotiable traits in a partner? Share them in the comments. And if you found this helpful, hit subscribe for more insights on gay life and dating and relationships. Until next time, love you all.